before we get into this delicious story, I say delicious because it involves food. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us. Today we are going over Dead Space with the remake coming out. We're excited to cover this. But again, before we get into that, let me tell you about my story. So last night I get home, I'm hungry. I make a sandwich, okay? I got 2 pieces of bread, obviously. That's what you use for a sandwich.
Okay.
Miracle Whip.
What kind of bread?
White bread. It was white, but it was healthy white. I think there was some
sucks.
protein in it.
So Dave's Killer Bread, probably.
It was Dave's Killer.
I love that bread.
It was a little hard.
I had the cheap 88-cent bread.
It was a little hard. The bread was a little hard. Anyways, spread some Miracle Whip, a little bit of mustard. Right? Spread the mustard. Okay. I had to shoot the mustard into the sink first to get the water out because I hate that watery part, or the crust.
Yeah.
Spread that, right? I put a piece of Swiss on each side. 6 pieces of circle salamis, the smaller salams, right?
Oh,
they're not not like a whole.
The ones that like if you're gonna make like a pizza, you'd use like the little.
Almost, yeah. So I put 6 of them. Close it. Walk over to the couch or one of the chairs. I sit on the chair. The dogs are on the other chair next to me. Now I put a blanket on this because these dogs stink, and I love them, but they stink. And so they're both like deaf and blind, but they definitely can smell. So the little one, Cindy Cinnamon, she tries to get to my sandwich. Now there's a gap. Okay, this is almost like for her, Evel Knievel jump in Snake Canyon. Okay,
Yeah.
she climbs up on the.
What a deep cut there.
She climbs up on the edge of this. She's trying to just sniff for the sandwich. She's so old and clumsy. She topples, bro. She falls face first into the ground. I'm like, oh no. She gets up like Tua. She's no joke. She's stumbling.
Okay.
Now it's funny because she's fine. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a funny story. But she starts to bleed out of her nose a little bit. She sneezes a little bit of blood, so she had a bloody nose.
Wow.
And she was acting all delirious. I gave her a piece of salami. Perfect. She was perfectly fine after that. So that's the end of the sandwich story. But,
What was Mr. Wolf doing?
He actually felt really bad for her. He started giving her kisses to make her feel better.
Those dogs, I don't get how they're still alive.
She's 15-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
And again, we're only talking about this because it was a sandwich story, and I thought it was funny. Also, R.I.P. to Jared, your dog, Peyton. He was 14 years old. We had to put him down this week, and you'll
15,
be missed.
15
years old. You'll be missed immensely. He was a Jack Russell, sweetest
Maybe
dog.
put a picture up on him.
We'll throw something up, but
find
R.I.P.
something.
to Peyton.
I'll do the Sarah McLachlan. I don't even know.
I think we should.
That's the right song.
You can either do that one or you can do the Paul Walker song. You know what I mean?
I was thinking like more like Jagged Edge.
What's that one?
Goodbye.
I don't know what that is.
Or what's the one? It's so hard to say goodbye.
I don't know.
I don't know.
what
I've
that
never
is.
heard it.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
And nobody
Boyz II
knows that
Men? I
one.
don't
So
know.
what I like about it though is it's so bad we'll just segue right into.
Have you
Dead
not
Space.
heard that song?
I've never
He's heard it.
I probably have, just not
Yeah.
your rendition.
Not your
pretty
version.
Bad, pretty bad, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, Jared, why don't you take the lead on?
So first
Dead
of all,
Space?
where's our game at?
Oh, good question.
Oh, where is the game?
Here.
Oh, just toss it. We'll catch it.
He's gonna do the
the dirty case. Yeah.
The dirty case. It still says 1999 new. 1999 new at I'm assuming GameStop. I don't know how the case got this dirty. It looks like there's straight poop on it.
That
see
looks
that?
like, no, it looks like water. Like someone spilled like a
Greatest
beverage.
hits version. So you know I got it cheap.
So let's get into it then, right? Dead Space, as we know, the remake is coming out. I think January 27th.
It's 27th, yeah.
So a week from today, and we're all excited for that. I think everyone's excited for that. But for some of us, like myself, I'm excited for it because I never played the first one or the original, or at least if I did, I don't remember. So
Kind of like last week, you didn't play Resident Evil 4.
He's
Right?
never played Resident Evil.
So we'll get into Dead Space. Jared, you started off. Maybe let's have a little bit more consistency. So every week, maybe we start with what? Controls, graphics,
I think you got to start with a synopsis.
synopsis. Okay, Jared's the
So a
synopsis.
little
Go
bit
ahead.
of what I understand is there's like a mining ship and they lose signal. So there's another ship where you're the main character, Isaac, and 2 other people, officer, and then they're on it. And they have to go locate the ship and they have to repair it and then, get them up and running. And for some reason, they can't get a hold of the ship. So they realize the antenna or something's bad. So Isaac is an engineer. I don't think he's really a soldier or like a security guy. He is more of a engineer. So he fixes stuff. He's not really necessarily tough. So on the way in, somehow they get sucked in and they have to crash land on the ship. And they have to find their way, find the crew. And they realize the crew is,
Yeah, the crew.
not what they used to be.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And then from there, it just goes from. I mean, it starts off as a banger. I mean, when you're sitting in the very beginning, you're sitting in that ship and you're flying towards debris, and they're talking, yapping back, and just Isaac's watching the video of his girlfriend. It just starts out like, this is gonna be a banger, because Isaac to me is probably one of the best main characters because he doesn't say anything. Doesn't say nothing. He just gets to the point. He's just all about business. Now the second one, he talks. He's a great voice actor or whatever. But sometimes they talk too much. This one, he's just like, he don't say nothing. They talk to you, and he's just straight to business. Like, I don't even say nothing. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you can see in this game, like, they weren't. I guess they weren't like really focused on. I don't want to say flushing out his character because they do, but they were just like, hey, this game, it's a horror game. It's more about like the atmosphere of the ship and what the hell happened here, and they just kind of want you to get into it. They kind of give you less information to make it scarier, I guess. But then the second one, they flesh his character out pretty
And he
good.
talks a lot in the second one, which is fine. It's not like Fallout 4, which I love. He talks a little bit too much. It's like, okay, shut up already. Just too much talking. The second one, he talks a good amount. And the first one, he says nothing. There's no reason to. He's just there.
Yeah.
Tell him where to go, and he's just going to mess stuff up.
So that covers the synopsis. Very, I think, good, basic understanding of where the game starts and kind of the story of it. And I think you guys have beaten this multiple times, played it a lot, right? On Xbox?
Yeah,
360.
360.
Yeah, 360.
And so I'm coming from a different perspective. Don't remember. I don't think I've played it, but if I did, I didn't play very much. I don't even know if I watched you guys play it. And I will say, to your point, I mean, or do we want to start with what controls, graphics? Let's flush this out a little bit here. So instead of just randomly, maybe every week we can go over a couple things in order, right?
What about like just first impressions when you first start playing it?
So we can start with first impressions. You want to do that?
Yeah.
I'll do my first impression because mine's a legit first impression.
It was like yesterday.
Yeah, actually, 100%. It starts out like, okay, there's a little bit of story. You're like, this is cool. And then you start to crash. You're like, okay. And then when it really starts, like when you start controlling it, that shit goes crazy, like quick.
Yeah, it does.
And I was caught off guard. I didn't know it was going to be that crazy that quick. So my first impression was like, oh, dang, I'm in for it, right? And my heart was racing right away. I loved the beginning. So for first impressions, it caught me off guard. I loved it.
Yeah. I think if I go back to the first time I played it, kind of the same thing. I think I actually might have watched you play it the first time. And like you mentioned, it literally feels like very cinematic to where the first time you're playing it, most games nowadays, like I'll just hold like whatever it is, the A or the X, and just skip it. Like, oh, this story is kind of pointless. But this story, like you actually wanted to hear what the hell was going on. As you, like you said, in the distance, you see it's like the Yoshimoto. I don't remember what the name of the
Ishimura or something.
Yeah, Ishimura. Yeah, and as you're getting closer to it, like they're talking, and you just gradually keep getting close, and you're like, what the hell happened to the ship? You're actually like super intrigued to find out what the hell is going on. So not at any point do you want to skip any of the dialogue. And that's very rare.
Oh,
like,
also, going
games.
back to it, he is there to find his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's there to fix it because that's what he does, but he's ultimately there to find his girlfriend.
Because she sent him a message.
She sent him a message, like panicking, and he keeps watching it over and over again.
Yeah, because even the other character at the beginning was like, oh, you'll get to talk to her soon or whatever like that. And then you see, I mean, by that sentence, and then you kind of see how their ship is, you're like, oh, this ain't going to go according to plan. First impressions, what were you remember?
Yeah, so I remember seeing the making of it when maybe a couple weeks before it came out. I remember that because it was an unknown game. I'm like, that looks really cool because the body, you could destroy limbs and stuff. So I first turned it on, just flying through the debris, and then you get on there and the lights are out and just how dark it is. You're like, man, this is going to be a wild ride because a lot of times the lights turn off and you basically only can see when you aim your gun because he has a light. But just walking through the corridors, wondering where these things are coming from, because somebody in that room you're getting is going to get obliterated. Because he's just there.
You got to raise the body count.
Yeah. And then just the way you're sitting in there, and then they're like, he kills that one dude, and they say, Isaac, get out of there, and you just start running, and you can hear him chasing you. Yeah. And the thing is, if you don't move, they will kill you. It's not like cinematic, like not to talk crap about certain games, but like Uncharted, for instance. Same for everybody. It's cinematic.
Yeah.
Certain things are going to happen. Doesn't matter what you do. This, if you stop, they will kill you. And when the elevator opens and he comes to you, like, what, you have no gun, it just smashes him.
Yeah.
I mean, even the second one starts off. The second one, I would say, arguably starts off even hotter.
No spoiler. It actually ends.
Yeah.
Very well.
The second one's really good too. But the point is, you could see this one even though it's from EA, published it. Visceral, I think it was, doesn't exist anymore. They developed it. You could see there wasn't a crap load of money compared to the second one or the third one put into it. So you can see it's a little rough around the edges in certain points, but it's I think it just with the atmosphere alone just gets you going. Like, okay, I want to find this gun and start ripping these things to pieces.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think going back graphically? I guess maybe
I think it still
can
holds
start
up.
there.
For Xbox 360, it complete. Well, was it only Xbox 360?
No,
or-
PS3.
Yeah, so it holds up perfect. 'Cause, like, you can see that, like, when this game came out, like, no game had lighting on console like that. Like, nothing. And I say on console because I know someone might leave a comment and be like, oh, well, a PC.
Yeah.
What
smug-
Crysis does. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, God.
Is it smug or smug with that?
Very, very much. But yeah, like, I think the lighting is fantastic. The guns, the game is very creative, and like
It's
you
unique.
never saw someone's helmet like Isaac's before with the lights. The way there was no HUD, right? Like a heads-up display. If you don't know what a HUD is, not trying to like over-explain anything, but like there's no really like ammo counter. Well, there is a little bit, but it's very minimalistic to where like your health is just down your neck, right? And then as you get hit, like that thing kind of just shrinks. It just feels more even like when people talk to you, right? Like there's kind of like you're still playing the game, but like a little screen comes up.
Yeah.
It just felt like very, very ahead of its time, and you can see the people that didn't make it at Visceral really put everything into it.
Well, and I liked that they kind of explained some of that without over-explaining it, right? Like when at the beginning when you're like, oh, let's check on everyone's health or whatever, and then his goes boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
all the way. So you're like, okay, that's his health. And I the other thing I think we talked about this in was it in Alien? I think maybe Dreamlight David talked about it. Was when you can't do certain things until like they explain it, or it's pointless
Yeah.
until they explain it.
Oh, yeah,
so like
he did say that, yeah.
when I started playing the game, I was hitting all the buttons to see what they do,
Yeah.
and like you couldn't stomp until they told you to
Yeah.
stomp.
Yeah.
Which it's fine, but
Yeah.
like there's boxes in those first few areas,
Yeah,
so
you
you're like, what
backtrack.
are these
Yeah,
things? And then when they tell you can stomp and stomp, but I thought the stomp was cool. You stomp
Yeah.
on the it was definitely unique. The helmet's unique.
Yeah, his suit is awesome.
Yeah. It, really cool, and I think that's what's cool about the limited run one, right?
Yeah,
And we
his
talked
helmet.
about a little bit is you can kind of get that whole setup. So, so graphically, we all
Oh,
kind
it
of
still
agree.
holds up. The lighting and stuff for 360 days,
Yeah.
it's, still pretty good.
And you want to get in? Maybe Jared, you cover, or Brad, you want to cover controls or gameplay
The
or
controls,
whatever?
I would go with the controls. I think the controls are a little clunky. If I had one gripe, I think he's a little too close to the screen. He's like big because
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4,
Yeah.
he's over in the corner, but he's a little bit further out. And maybe because we're playing 2K23 a lot, and you run with your character, he's kind of in the center and he's a little bit smaller. He's a little bit too big for the screen, and he is kind of slow and clunky.
Yeah.
So when they're coming at you, there's no hate to go back, but like Resident Evil, you could spin real quick and go. You can't. You have to physically turn him, and so if they come from behind you and you're not in the right position, it takes you a while to turn around and shoot them. So I would say the controls they're still really well. Just a few gripes, a little clunky on some points, and he's way too close to the screen. He needs to be pushed out a little bit more.
There's also like this thing that will happen where like if you get hit, it really feels like like you'll get hit and it just feels like you stagger a little too much.
Yeah.
And then like you can get hit like twice. Like
Yeah.
they can keep hitting you even though like you kind of can't move back. All things that they fixed in Dead Space 2. But yeah, they are a little clunky. He is so close to the screen that sometimes someone can be coming from behind you and you legitimately, like, you can't see them.
Yeah.
And you'll just get hit from behind. You're like, I didn't even know there was somebody there.
You can just hear them. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
something's coming. But I didn't even remember him being that close to the screen, so I turned on. Like, man, he's
Yeah.
really big. So
I think they wanted to accentuate the detail that they put into his
suit.
his rig, right? That's
Yeah.
what they call it, his engineer rig. The helmet, the way it like
Yeah.
closes, like that's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the design of the bad guys or whatever you want to call them.
the,
They
Yeah,
were,
Necromorphs.
the baddies.
they were cool, and the way you can kind of just like dismember them and like beat the living daylights out of them, I thought was really cool.
Well,
Even when they're on the ground, you can do that still too. So that was cool. But as far as the controls go, it wasn't just jumping into it. It wasn't too hard to figure out. But to your point, a little clunky, I guess.
Did you get to the part where you can actually pull off their limbs and shoot it at somebody else? Yeah, you can pin them against the wall. Boom. Yeah.
So yeah, you get like a stasis ability where you can like kind of shoot them and they slow down, and then at other points you can kinetic where you can like literally grab anything. It's almost like Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
When you get the whatever that gun's called, the gravity gun,
Yeah.
where you can kind of pick up anything and just start shooting it at them. It's kind of the same thing. And to be honest, if you start upping the difficulty, as I always do, it becomes essential.
Yeah, because you run out of ammo. So you have to use other things that kill them or just run.
Yeah, you got to shoot like it basically, yeah, like you just said, you want to probably blow their legs off so then they have to crawl towards you, and then later on in the game, not to spoil too much, there is an enemy who literally just doesn't die. Like he basically, like, you can shoot his limbs off and then he just like kind of like reanimates. Where you need to upgrade your stasis, you need to upgrade like your kinetic stuff so you can use your surroundings, which is actually another really cool thing about the game, why it holds up so well, is there's no one way to tackle a room. Like, you can go into a room and if you bought the machine gun, just blow them all away, right? Because every gun's got like 2 fire modes or whatever. Or you can use, saw blades, or not necessarily saw blades, or a fire extinguisher, and just throw it at them or whatever it may be. So that's really cool. That there's a lot of replayability.
What else we got to cover?
Sound.
Sound.
The sound effects, like you can hear them in the vents, or you can hear them behind you. So you'll be in a firefight, and then you can hear something kind of behind you. So you don't know, do I just finish off what's here, or do I turn around and try to get thing behind me? Or sometimes you turn around, there's nothing there, but it's just in the vents, and the way like the gun sound. I mean, it's just it holds up really well.
Yeah.
Lockdown initiated.
So a lot of the things we've talked about are very similar to a game I feel like Alien Isolation, right?
Yeah.
Talking about like the sound, you can hear them around you, and there's no one way to tackle it, and those types of things. So what I liked about this one more, at least for me, was in the areas I played, I felt like Alien Isolation from the beginning was just pitch black. Like dark. Whereas this one had areas where there was decent lighting. To let me see a little bit more. I felt like they weren't hiding in the darkness. Like they weren't trying to like hide how ugly the game could get or whatever by just making it dark. And I like that. The lighting, the illumination things you talked about for a 360 game was really cool. And I think that's kind of what set it apart for me from something like Alien, which I think made me enjoy it a little bit more.
Well, that's the reason why they made 3 of them, because the first one was so successful. The second one, I think, sold more, if I'm not mistaken, and the third one was just it was okay. It's just they tried to make it an action thing, and they lost what they were doing. But
I mean, that happens with a lot, like even like Mass Effect. You know what I mean? When they got to was it Andromeda?
Yeah,
it was just crap.
I get it, right?
Liked Andromeda.
You don't want to tell the same story again, so they try to branch out. But yeah, I mean, if you are gonna play them, play 1 and 2. Don't feel like you have to play all 3. But yeah, like you were talking about Alien Isolation. Like Alien Isolation is very much like get from point A to point B and don't die to the alien because you can't kill him. Or we don't really know what the hell it is, right? A boy or a girl. And this game, it's like you're going to get attacked by a bevy of creatures and stuff, but like you're going to get the utility to kind of blow them away.
Oh, there's definitely major differences in the two. I'm just talking about like you're on a spaceship, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's like these alien creatures that you're battling. Not necessarily just one that's crazy powerful.
No, yeah, you're right.
But that's kind of what I meant. But I like that it was a little bit more, it was a little brighter.
Yeah, they used a lot of reds in this game, right? Where Alien Isolation kind of did it too, but there's some spots where it's just pitch black and you can't see anything. And then the alien just comes out and you're like, well, that's not very fun. You kind of just see his teeth or whatever. But in this game, like there was some areas where you would see some light and you would kind of stay in the light because you're like, I'm going to stay here because nothing's going to happen. And sometimes it's a trap and they blow out of vents. I think there's a lot of good like action set pieces, like I said last week, in this game where there's like, I guess you can call them kind of like boss fights.
Yeah.
And I just think like the game, there's a lot of situations where if you don't do something, you will die. Like you have to shoot. Like I think there's a spot in the game where the airlock gets blown out,
I think
and if you don't shoot the button in time, like you literally just die and you'll get like cut in half.
Yeah, the death animations are good.
So there's a lot of different things that you have to be like ready for, and you got to be on your toes because the game will kill you. Like it's not going to hold your hand
What I think
at any point.
Yeah, in the past we've talked about too, like maybe the story in the beginning wasn't there, so it didn't suck you in.
Yeah.
Or this wasn't there. To me, the story wasn't like deep in the beginning, but the way it just starts like crazy, and your heart's racing right away. You're like, I gotta keep playing. I can't stop.
Spoilers
to the end.
Spoilers. Okay, I said it 3 times. That's good enough.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there'll still be somebody. I haven't played it. When did it come out?
2008.
Yeah.
2008. Literally 15 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe they're only 14 years old.
But
I didn't even know the game
also, if we're spoiling it, it's probably going to spoil it for the remake too. The story will stay the same.
Who knows how they do it? They might change it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you really don't want to ruin your life, maybe just skip to the end.
This will be? I'll do that. That means spoilers are coming.
Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
What's that supposed to be?
That means
That's-
turn off.
Watch the last episode. You know what the hell it is.
So,
All right, whatever. Spoiler. Go ahead.
if I'm mistaken, if you notice when you play every level, there is actual name of each level. If you go take the first letter from every level and read it, if you line it up and you read it, it says that she's dead. His girlfriend's dead. She's been dead for a long time.
Yep.
So you go there and basically try to, and you have to survive because you find out she's dead. And then there's something with like artifacts. They use some artifact and it sucked these demons in or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like an alien
Yeah.
beacon kind of thing that kind of makes people go insane, and then makes them kind of do crazy stuff. And then there is basically like an alien element to it, which kind of is able to reanimate like corpses. And that's what the necromorphs. Are they even called necromorphs?
I think they might be. Hang on.
That's
What's
starting to
his
sound like an
Yeah,
evil dead.
What's his
necromorphs?
girlfriend's name? Nicole? Is that her name?
Ashley? I don't know.
Something says and it will say whatever her name is dead.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's how you pretty much they set it up so you can if you kind of actually figure it out.
So
Well,
anyways,
am I
get
the
the hell
only-
off the ship? Basically.
Am I the only one though? When they're trying to contact the ship at the beginning, and you hear crack, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's just it's just not working." I'm like, "No, that sounds like an evil monster. I'm not going on board."
Wait, hang on. Do it again.
It's something like that, and I'm just like, no, the main lady, she's kind of mean at the beginning.
Yeah.
She's the one like, oh no, I know this is what it's saying. I felt like she was going to be in on it somehow, like knew what they were going to get into, but then she might die too, so obviously not. But just the way she's like, oh yeah, they're just.
But here's the thing.
It's just not working.
You're
I'm like,
underestimating the badassness of Isaac. He's going on that ship regardless to get his girlfriend.
I understand that, but see,
So
you're
there's
saying
nothing keeping it
he's
off
an
that.
engineer. You're not supposed to be a badass. As an
Oh,
engineer.
well, he's a
No
badass.
offense to engineers, you might be a badass.
He's a
but
badass.
I understand
Well,
that
I
after playing, he is, but that's because I'm a badass.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why this game does so well is that every person that plays it, like you're not, Duke Nukem, you're not, the Doomslayer, you're just an engineer, like you're just an average guy on a ship, and excuse my language, but shit hits the fan, and it kind of feels like any one of us would be in that situation. Like, what do you do? That's why he kind of just like sometimes will do like a melee, he's clunky, or he stomps on things. It feels very realistic, even though it is a ship filled with demons.
Unlike in Resident Evil 4, which we did last week, where he's like doing backflips off a wall through lasers.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, a little ridiculous,
Yeah.
right?
Suplexing them and their heads come off. Their heads come off. Brad, their
Yeah.
heads come off.
Well,
Hey, I was gonna say, that character that has the flailing arms like that, the enemy.
In Resident Evil, you mean?
No, this game here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the necromorph guys?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of from like the Thing.
Kind of.
Kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a big influence for them.
Yeah.
And that one that crawls too. There's one that crawls. It's weird.
Yeah, there's and then the big guy who just like drops, like
Yeah.
shoot his belly and like little babies come out.
Oh yeah.
here's something that just bugged me though. He has 15 seconds. And he just used that quality content right
did.
there.
He did.
But last week he gave us absolutely nothing for 13 seconds, so that was good. Let's actually jump into him.
Yeah.
You guys think?
I
Yeah,
think
sure.
he was itching. That's why
You can tell when he starts getting
Look at the look on his face.
trigger happy.
He's so serious.
Look at that look on his face. Thank God they can't see it.
Okay, so let me get a timer going
get the
here,
timer going.
and then this time please be ready, because we
You
don't want to have this
embarrass me.
Okay,
Oh.
You embarrassed me.
I have,
embarrass yourself.
That was Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no.
I have nothing. No.
His Toretto
Um,
chain. Right
So okay, you ready?
What do you want to know?
So we want no. You get 15 seconds. You just hit
Okay.
us with. I mean, even if
It's
you.
like the 10th time he's done this. He still doesn't know what his job
Oh,
is.
you act like you want something.
I'm surprised he still has 15 seconds. I mean, okay, ready,
I'm just stalling.
set, go.
Don't have anything. No, personally, I think that the suit is very unique, and the life bar is awesome. I don't really have much on this game.
Why are you sounding like you're reading
Like
the
I said,
script?
it reminds me a lot of. I think they got a lot of inspiration from the
And
Thing
your time's
movies.
up.
That was pathetic.
Let,
You guys are so hard.
let,
didn't
that
have
be,
anything.
let that be a lesson. You did have something. You
No.
used it in your unwarranted time
No.
and didn't use it for your 15 seconds. So, okay. Anything else you guys want to cover before we get his Metacritic and
Don't have it.
Let me think.
And is,
the enemy types. We kind of covered it a little bit. The enemies, the way they all kind of look different. And I would say one final thing, so I'm not taking too much time, is read the walls. If you haven't played the game, when you play it, like put your flashlight on all the walls, and legitimately, like, it's terrifying. Like people are like, they're breaking in, or they ripped my leg off. It doesn't say they ripped my leg off, but it's like
they wrote
very,
it with their leg.
like it's written in blood, or like just the atmosphere. We kind of touched on it a little bit. Like it really adds another layer to the game. It's almost like when you play Left 4 Dead and you before you leave the safe house, like there's like, I was here, and some other dude's like, no, you weren't. Like it's like a bathroom stall.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know.
It sounds scarier than a bathroom stall, but I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Well,
Like,
bathroom stalls can be pretty scary, dude. Depends on where you're at.
Have you seen some of these?
as long as it's not written in blood, then
don't know, man.
it can't be as bad. So we'll throw it over to you, producer Rich. Let's get what does this game go for on eBay right now?
On eBay,
currently?
you're looking at for the platinum they want 12 and 16
And that's interesting, right? Because so it sold so well, they made a platinum edition, which is the
Yeah.
one it looks like you have.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
then
this one would probably be like $3 with the
it's
the
a
dirty
little
stains
bit
over it.
more on the PlayStation. It's like 27. So
Okay.
you're looking at that range. You don't even want to know what the sealed ones are. They're
Not even.
outrageous.
I would never buy an Xbox 360 game sealed
I have-
unless it was at a
Yeah.
thrift
We
store.
have one right there.
I have Halo sealed.
Tomb Raider
Well-
sealed. I'm gonna lie.
Yeah, so you're looking at 16, between 16 and 27.
Okay, so we'll just drop it in somewhere at 20. And then Metacritic, I think we talked about it earlier. It was like 88 on PS3 and 89
Yeah.
on Xbox 360. So really well received well,
Yeah.
something like that. So if that's everything, then maybe we just go and we vote now
Yep.
on what we think about it. Who wants to start? Jared?
I'll start it. Okay. Graphics, atmosphere, superb. Controls, good. A little bit of work, it's fine. I'm a sucker for main characters.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect main character. Guy's a badass.
I'm surprised you would say that because you're a big voice actor guy.
I am, but to a certain extent. Because, like I said, Fallout 4, they added voice acting. Just too much. Stop talking. You don't have to make a comment over everything. Even if you try to skip it, it goes, Makes it's like, we don't need that. We don't need that shit. So, this is perfect. He's just doesn't say anything, and he's like, we're going to do this. And he just looks at you and goes on his merry way.
Helmet just closes.
Yeah, and the second one, it goes, lifts up, and the second one does more. So, I would definitely say SmackCertified. 100%.
SmackCertified.
Yeah. I was
And-
going into this already saying it's SmackCertified.
So say it cost about $20. What would you pay for it?
I would buy the sealed one.
You'd buy the sealed one.
I would buy the sealed
sealed
one.
one goes for how much? I don't think you know what you're in
On
for.
the
on this one.
360, I see it for 206.
Yeah, you bit off more than you could chew on
And
that one.
PS3 is 189.
So about $200 for a sealed copy. What a
Factory
waste.
sealed.
And you're gonna open
If I
it
had
anyways.
everything else, then I would get sealed copy.
Yeah.
It's a little steep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
I'm
next.
backtracking real fast now.
And once you realize how much, I'll go next. So I'm looking at, like I said, for a little bit different perspective because I don't have a ton of experience with it years ago or when it launched. And to me, I went into it thinking, is this something that by just dabbling in it, am I going to buy the remake? And am I going to like it so much that I'm going to buy like the expensive set with the mask and all that stuff or the helmet? And I wouldn't go that far. And I don't think anyone who hasn't played it needs to play this one before they play the remake. I would just jump into the remake.
a hot take.
Unless the remake turns out to just be a bad remake. But I would say it's SmackCertified because it's cheap and it's fun. And it's as good as any scary movie out there, except you're interacting with it. And I think that is always something that I enjoy. So I definitely say it's SmackCertified. I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm going to buy like the super, super expensive one with the helmet and all that. It's not like my favorite franchise of all time. And you only have limited space to put some of that stuff in your game room. But I will buy the remake. I'm excited to play the remake and play that one all the way through because it is a really quality game. And I had a lot of fun with it for the amount of time that I played. So SmackCertified for me as well.
Okay. You cannot call yourself a video game fan and not play this game.
Oh, okay.
It's that simple.
What if you're just a sports guy?
You don't. That's the whole point. Is that this, like you just mentioned, you hit nail right on the head.
Oh, dang.
Nailed
Wow.
right on the head when
did
you
it.
mentioned this is like a movie. The intro alone makes you want to keep going and discovering what's going on with Ishimura, what the hell happened, and as you go,
The ship.
yeah, even when the game ends, not trying to spoil anymore, you are so excited when you found out they were making a second one, and the second one just starts with a bang.
It does.
And
And
it's
it ends
like
with it ends amazing too.
Look, if you're a horror game fan, you've not played this, then you're not a horror game fan. It's that simple.
What if they were living under a rock and they just didn't know?
Well, you know now. The 70 people that are going know now. This game is, it's easily SMAC certified. Might be the best horror game ever made. So go get it for whatever you said it was.
So
20-ish bucks.
So I'm on the fence though, because part of me is like, okay, the second one's better, but then I go back, well, kind of the first one's better, but then I go back to him not saying anything and just being straightforward. I put this one over the second one.
There's nothing better than the original.
So do you think the newest one, you think they're going to add a voice actor for him? Because I haven't looked into who's doing what.
Yeah, they're
Or do
gonna,
you think they're going to keep him just like quiet,
No.
They're gonna use.
they're gonna add a voice actor
Pee Wee
for
Herman,
sure.
I think.
like Nolan North or something?
No, I think it's Pee Wee Herman.
Dude, this guy's like
He said it like 3 times. I tried to ignore it. And he sips his soda.
do yourself a favor, put it on the hardest difficulty, and only upgrade your plasma cutter because that's all you need. Which that's the main handgun. It goes. You can turn it. It shoots either 3 bullets this way or 3 bullets that way, or get the Ripper. That's a lot of fun. You get a saw blade. We didn't even talk about that. You get a.
I think we
it
mentioned
shoots
the
out
saw
a
blade.
gravity saw and just cuts people to smithereens. Can you cut people to smithereens?
No.
You blow them to
Yeah.
smithereens.
Well, so as
you can
far
do that
as the remake goes, replaying or for you guys replaying this, did it get you amped and ready for the remake, or were you already amped and you didn't need to replay
No,
it?
I've
How
been
do you
counting
feel?
the days before this.
I'm pretty sure he said that about Resident Evil 4, and then
I
you didn't
count
know
a
when it
lot of
came
days.
out.
I count a lot of days.
Guys, count.
I have nothing going on in my life right
A
now.
lot of counting.
Yeah, it is a lot
I
of
have
counting.
nothing, literally nothing going on.
So you're a week away, and when this post, you're probably less than a week away. But for anybody that hasn't played this, what would you recommend? Would you recommend waiting for the remake?
No, I recommend you play this. You get your toes wet. You know.
Yep.
Get wet your whistle. It's like he likes to say. You just get in it, and just get into it and get yourself all jacked up. You know.
Jeez, got them all.
Get like jacked up, kind of like when you're ready to watch your Dolphins play. You're getting yourself jacked up. Do
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
and then
Grab
go.
a little smelling salt.
Yeah, go and play the remake because I'm sure the remake's gonna be amazing. But I would, if I had to bet, I would bet this one's still gonna be better because it's the original, and they like to change certain things, and they got to make obviously. It's going to be a lot of money to make this new one, so they're going to have to do certain things to try to make more money. I feel like this one was just made, and if it makes money, they didn't expect to make money, and it did.
Yeah.
So what are you guys looking forward to after playing this again? What do you want them to change for the
Put him a
remake?
little bit further away from the screen and make the controls a little bit faster, like he moves a little bit quicker. But that's just a minor gripe. Other than that, the game's perfect.
Yeah, I like more horror than more action, so I
Yeah.
don't think the game needed to be made.
Yeah, I didn't really
I don't
need
think it
to
needs a
remake.
remake.
No, it didn't be remade.
They could have just remastered it,
Yeah.
right? Make it like 4K.
There's gonna be a lot. of
Maybe
great
add like
details.
what's the thing with the lighting that everyone's all into now?
I'm talking about
Ray tracing. They could have
Yeah.
added all
Yeah.
that stuff, and I think it would have been fine. I don't think you need to change anything or remake it from the ground up. But
yeah.
hey, that's
If
what
it
they
were
wanna
up to
do.
me, they shouldn't have remade it. But since it's already done,
Yeah.
I'm on board. So I'm
Okay.
kind of part of the problem.
So you're counting down to the days, but you also didn't even care if they made. I'm
No,
so
no. When they
confused.
first announced it, it's like, why are you remaking it?
Yeah.
And then when they had the Callisto Protocol coming out, and the couple of guys that made this, like, oh, that's gonna be the real one. And then
that kind of
they showed, I guess, a couple weeks ago when that was released. They showed images of the new Dead Space, like a 12-minute video, and that just killed any hopes of Callisto being any good. They just killed it. Because people, at the end of the day, I was excited for both, but I was always going to lean towards this because even though it's not the original people, it's still a better IP.
Yeah, and that's what kind of that's a whole other conversation. That kind of sucks because it's like EA and Visceral made such an amazing game, but then EA owns the rights to this intellectual property. So then it's like the people who made this game tried to go make something else and go, "Hey, we made this, so you're gonna like this." But
Same thing for
it's not
Back
fair.
4 Blood.
You know what I
Same thing
mean?
for
It's
Back
like,
4 Blood. They
it's,
try to.
it sucks because they made an amazing game here, but go play the Callisto Protocol. It's a
Yeah.
good game too.
I haven't played it. I heard it wasn't very good.
No. Yeah, all games are great.
So are you, Jared? Are you gonna get the one from Limited Run, the one
It's
with the
like
helmet, $250?
I don't
think
know
it is.
if I need to spend that much money right now.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I have a dilemma. The game comes out Friday, so you can technically get it Thursday night. But here's the thing, I'll be at Disneyland on Thursday. So part of me is like, screw Disneyland and just wait. But then it's like, it's Disneyland, so I'm kind of... But I'm going to get... That means when I get out of Disneyland or whatever, I'm going to be...
So are you buying it digitally so you can get it right at midnight, or what are you going to do?
No. I was just going to hope to get it maybe at Walmart or something. Walmart's still 24 hours?
I don't know. The one by me isn't anymore.
No, they open at, I believe, 5 a.m.
So it looks like I'm just going to GameStop the next morning. So then I go to Disneyland anyways. That was a whole worthless
Yeah,
conversation.
that's where I was confused on what you're saying. But like I said, the expensive one is really cool, and the helmet's really cool and all that. Like the one you got back
Can
here.
you wear the helmet?
I'm sure you can. Like I wore the Master Chief one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going to be good enough with just the base game on its own. That's what I'm gonna shoot for.
Do you think it's going to be hard to get?
The helmet?
No, the game
They
itself.
make some.
No,
they
they
make
make
But I can just get it myself. I'll be here.
No, but like you said, it doesn't come out till Friday. So my
Yeah, it
whole thing
doesn't
of
matter
complaining
anyways.
about Disneyland was just worthless.
Yeah,
You can cut that out if you want.
Why
Okay,
are you
so-
going to Disney though?
Because Disneyland's...
I'm a Disney boy.
Oh my god.
That's
I have a guy.
with?
I have a guy that works there. Gets me in for free. So I don't need a magic key because they just started selling magic key again.
Yeah, I have
What-
a magic key.
I don't need
What's
it
a
'cause I got a
magic
guy.
key? What's a magic key?
Magic key is their year pass. Season.
Oh,
season
Christ.
I have a guy, Rich. I have a guy.
But they call
You
it
have a
Magic Key.
child. It's okay.
Yeah, and he loves it. Oh, and they also are opening a new Mickey ride
Yeah.
starting. Is it next week already?
Yeah. Mickey and Minnie's.
They're
Runaway
opening
something.
Toontown. That's a whole other
Wait,
story.
hang on. Hit us with Mickey.
Oh boy.
That was you didn't.
That wasn't my
All right,
best
you
one.
didn't
okay,
sell
give
it.
us Donald Duck too. Wow.
We need.
All right, one
green
last
light
one.
for that.
One last one.
he's the Donald Duck
Gorsh.
guy.
No.
Oh, that
Okay,
was, that
one
was-
last one. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, Bob. It just sounds like an old man. Okay. Anyway, so
Let's go.
let's cover on what game do you want to do next week? So we did 2 remakes. We did Resident Evil 4. That's coming out in March. We did Dead Space. Are there any more remakes that? I mean, we call ourselves game aficionados. Is there anything else that's coming out a remake? Or did we want to?
I say we should do the original Stalker, but I think that's only on PC, huh?
I believe so.
Never even played
All right,
it.
so
yeah.
we can't do that. I just
Well,
wasted
here's the
everyone's
thing.
time.
Here's the thing. I actually didn't think that far ahead to what we're gonna play. So we can just do it. We can just do it right now. I mean, technically not live, but we're doing it right
Okay,
now.
well, we've already done kind of 2 games that they're not necessarily, Resident Evil 4 is not scary. They were 2 remakes, but there's, games that are kind of scary. So maybe we just pick another scary game.
What do
I
you
would
think?
say no, he's holding Bully. We're
I've
not
never played Bully.
recapping Bully.
Yeah, all of a sudden look over. There's a guy holding Bully, which I heard's a
What-
fantastic
Well,
game.
what's a good horror game where there's a new one, like relatively new one, doesn't have to have just come out? What about Outlast?
Oh, I got it's a good one because Outlast Trials is coming out.
Let's do Outlast.
Okay. It's fine.
We'll do the original
That
Outlast.
is gonna scare you.
So, won't you wrap it up?
So, as far as Dead Space goes, we all agree that this game is SmackCertified. We recommend it. It only goes for about $20. We recommend either. I'd probably just get the remake. It's coming out soon, unless the remake ends up being a dud. But this is a really good game. Even if you're not too much into horror games, there's a decent story there, and then it gets pretty bloody. So you got to be into horror games. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. If you're not into horror games, don't play it. You're gonna cry. But SmackCertified. Next week we're going to cover Outlast because Outlast Trials is coming out.
I think it's Trials. I could have made that
Some
up.
sort of Outlast is coming up. We're going to cover that next week on next week's episode. So we appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. If you did make it this far, please click the like, subscribe, share it with some friends. We're only at like 60 subscribers. Pretty sad. We'd like to at least get to 65 by the end of the week. So if you could.
If we get to 65 by the end of the week, I will wear his beret.
Ooh. Okay.
Why would I
all
let
right.
you wear my beret?
That's the whole point.
Yeah. We're never going to
You don't. So you're kind of torn. Do you want to get the? But if we get to 70, I won't. So
Okay.
nothing happens if we get.
Anyways, appreciate the support. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Peace.